Hello, my name's Angel Salvares and I would like to welcome you to the show, Making the Connection in Lancaster. Today we have another special guest with us. Jonathan Fox is a member of the Executive Committee for the Mental Health America of Lancaster County. He is also the liaisons for the Lancaster County Community Team. Welcome to Making the Show, John.
Thank you, Angel.
Pleasure to have you here. Jonathan, it's really great to have you here today. But before we discuss Mental Health America of Lancaster County and the Lancaster County Community Team and the Community Fest, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to.
Sure. Well, for the last 15 years, I've lived in wonderful Lancaster County, and for the last 10, I spent as a civil rights investigator and a police community organizer for Lancaster County's Human Relations Commission.
Okay, wonderful. And what exactly is the Mental Health America of Lancaster County?
That's an agency that's been established for nearly 50 years. The last 30, it's been led by Mary Steffi as our executive director. We're basically the agency within Lancaster County to go to with issues or concerns about mental health issues, as we're described as a clearinghouse or a referral agency. And also, Mary Steffi and some of her great staff do provide certain counseling or seminars to do with anger management or peer counseling. Okay. And we also have a component recently added called Compare, which is we put together people who are recovering from mental illness together with someone to be like their mentor, so to speak.
Right.
So that's just a recent addition, but we find it to be a very valuable partner.
Is this a new organization, or was this organization called something else?
That's right, because I'm sure you noticed the change. About 2 years ago, the agency's name went from Mental Health Association to Mental Health America, and that tied in with the national group that we're associated with. So they changed their logo, so to speak, their marketing and their messaging to Mental Health America.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because a lot of people were thinking this was a new organization. And what is the mission for this organization?
Again, it's a full-rounded approach to helping either people that are recovering from mental illness or family members. Also, we do advocacy, we do policy work, we promote a legislative breakfast, which is coming up this year again on March 25th, and we also, with the great partnership with organizations like your own, SACA, we'll be doing another diversity seminar on April 28th.
Okay. And what types of services are offered here with this organization, and who benefits from these services?
I would say to you that all of Lancaster County benefits, because the more wellness we find in mental health, the better off we'll be. Some of the events I just mentioned will cause more publicity to be raised and more partners to be involved in the work that we do. We are more, like I said, like a clearinghouse or a referral agency first and foremost. We do offer some services, but the clinical work, we're in touch with either MHMR for the county or other mental health wellness providers, so we would be able to connect you with the services that you'd need.
And this is for young and old alike?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the Mental Health America of Lancaster County provides treatment for adults and children suffering from different behaviors and emotional disorders, is that correct?
And I wouldn't use the word treatment as much as an advocacy to plug you into treatment. Okay. That clinical word.
Right.
Some of our staff does provide counseling, so to speak. Right. And there's a distinction between you know, whether you're credentialed or not. But yeah.
So you just do a lot of referrals and so forth.
A lot of referrals.
Okay. And how about bilingual services? Do you provide those?
If we don't have as many people on staff that are bilingual, Spanish, English, or other languages, but we have connections to provide that service through the good partnership, again, with Spanish American Civic Association, for example.
Fantastic. And tell me about some of the programs like the Client Family Advocate.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the areas that we can connect people together. As just the name says, client family. A lot of time, if you're experiencing your first incident or involvement with the mental health system,
Right.
you're going to find it quite daunting, and
Absolutely.
we have people who have either gone through and got the services provided to them, so they know to walk the walk, to walk it with you.
Okay, and you also have a community education program. How does that work?
And then, of course, that's part of the advocacy that we
Okay.
do, where the more people that are aware of the issues involved with mental health and try to eliminate some of the stigma. You know, you find in a lot of cultures and a lot of areas throughout our county that mental health sometimes is viewed as something to be shameful of, where I think the shame would be if you or your family member doesn't help you get the treatment. There's
Right.
the shame.
Absolutely,
Right?
I couldn't agree more. And you also do a lot of monitoring as well there.
Well, when you say monitoring, if you mean that we kind of go around and make sure that the services that we refer you
Right,
to
exactly.
are
That's
actually
what I mean.
providing
Right.
what you need, so there is like a follow-up afterwards. That's right.
Okay, very good. And you also have the peer educator to help educate on the realities of mental illnesses and recovery and so forth.
That's right. You've done your homework.
Yeah, I did a little reading up on it.
Sure, I appreciate that.
One program that caught my attention was the Alpha Clubs. What can you tell us about that?
And that's Gretchen Cadasio who really spearheads that. And there's different groups that meet in different areas of Lancaster County. And it's like just a group experience where they get together and do social activities. They go to a movie, they go bowling.
Right.
And then it's just something that together they're in their element, they feel comfortable, and you find that that's very, very important and effective in on the road to
Right.
recovery.
And that's part of the Compere Lancaster that you spoke about earlier?
Not exactly, but we do have an association there, but that's literally a separate MHA function.
Okay.
But we do, again, have the partnership, so sometimes Compere
Right.
would blend in. But Compere is separate because that's a one-on-one mentoring or peer program where the education and
It's
what
more of a
Gretchen's group is more like a group
a group
activity
setting.
deal.
Okay.
That's right.
And you also have something called the Your Child. Tell us a little bit about that. I found that interesting also.
Oh, great. I'm glad you did. First of all, there are stresses involved, especially after being blessed with your first child. So you could call issues of postpartum depression or other things. So that's another support group, the support referrals that we could make. Again, people have gone through it themselves before, or
Right.
there are people that are well aware of how to help.
Okay. And the public policy that I was reading about, how does that work?
Well, that's an area that I'm more involved with because I'm a layman.
Exactly.
I'm not an expert
Yeah.
in the clinical aspects, but I think the work that we've done advocating with politicians, I should say, our legislators and our the people within county government, and we've kept a pretty good partnership going because some of the services that we provide are funded through county funds, through state funds.
Right.
And we try to be influential and, again, educational to our movers and shakers, so to
Absolutely.
speak, and let them know, keep them up to speed on issues.
Yeah, and that's right up your alley. Public relations seems to be something that
Oh, thank you,
really...
yeah.
Okay.
I
And
don't
John...
seem to be shy about that.
No, not at all. And that's great. You're very talented in that regard, that's for sure.
Oh, you're too kind.
I wanted to ask you also, or not ask you, but, let you know more or less the reasons that, I'm so interested in mental health is because, I work with the Drug and Alcohol Prevention Program at SACA, and I see a lot of young people that are diagnosing themselves and self-medicating with substance, just because they have never been evaluated and treated for these conditions, and by doing so, they're only making things more difficult for themselves. So for anyone that is interested in visiting the Mental Health America, they're located at 630 Janet Avenue, is that correct?
That's right. It's also known as the United Way Building.
Right. They hold a lot of different offices.
It is a remarkable facility, and I'm proud to say that Mental Health America is one of the 4 owners of the building. That's how far back
Great.
the agency goes.
And John, if anybody that's watching the program would like to contact them, what number? Do you have any idea?
And I don't have the number handy, but I'm sure you're going to put it on the screen, I would trust. But
they have
people
a
there,
website also.
and they have a website, mhalancaster.com, or you could Google it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, thanks, John, for that information. The other thing that I've been doing, you know, I haven't seen you in a while, but I have been over at the high school at McCaskey, and we've been doing our life skills training there, and it's been really interesting. We started back in November, and the courses that we're going through, the lessons that we're teaching them are all kinds of life skills training, anger management, anxiety management, and all that good stuff that's related to all this mental health issue. And I'm really excited right now where the kids are finally even starting to see this program.
They're listening.
Yeah, they're listening.
That's beautiful.
And we're trying to bring in all types of different guests on that cover these life skills lessons that we're teaching them in the schools. And I've even talked to them about possibly coming on the show, so they're really excited about that. But the anger management is a big one that we've covered for the last 2 weeks, and a lot of these kids need mental health, resources and services. So a lot of them don't realize that, though. You know, I have kids that are pretty violent kids sometimes, and they just go over the edge for no reason at all.
They're acting out.
They have misplaced anger,
Sure.
and not respecting their adults and so forth. So that's one of the reasons why my interest is so high in this area.
And it's symptomatic of some underlying concern or issue, of course, you find.
Absolutely.
I used to be a fire investigator, and there's the juvenile fire center that is one concern. I'm sure you also deal with those who self-medicate, as
Yes.
you mentioned, and
Yes.
that only exacerbates any type of mental issue
Sure.
if someone's adding alcohol or drugs to it.
Yeah.
So they might think they're medicating themselves or calming themselves.
Right.
Or,
Well, they feel good for a little while.
And that's the good way of putting
Yeah.
it, and I bet that gets across when you talk
Yeah.
with these teenagers.
Yeah, because depression is a huge problem, and some of them don't know how to deal with the depression. So, somebody offers them something, some kind of substance or something that's going to make them feel good temporarily, but once they come down from that high, the depression sometimes is twice as bad as it was prior.
You've made things worse.
Absolutely.
And then you get prone to be more depressed.
Absolutely. And this is where, especially the gateway drugs start out. They start out with the marijuana, and they kind of escalate from there, and before you know it, they're out of control. And some of the problems that we're seeing is that the kids are starting at a younger age now.
Kids are growing up too fast.
They're growing up too fast.
So to speak.
And before, the concern was the kids in the high school, but now we're seeing that there's issues in the middle schools. So even before they get into the middle schools, they already have substance problems.
Well, that's a good segue to another issue I'm sure is dear to both of us, because we work together along with the Juvenile Probation and Parole Department in Sherry Lupton and
Right.
the Youth Police Forums
Absolutely.
that we sponsor every year.
Absolutely.
Talk about anger management.
Yes.
Talk about getting to the middle school kids
Right.
at an age where hopefully they listen
Yes.
and want to participate. And we do it in a forum where it's not an emergency situation,
Right.
and they get to interact with a lot of the police departments, not only in the city, but some of the suburbs.
Yes.
I know you agree.
Absolutely. I'm on the DMC committee.
Exactly.
And, I hope that in the very near future we'll have Sherry come on the program.
That'd be a great guest.
Yes, we're going to be talking about that issue. But every year we have that youth forum. This past year we had it at Millersville, and we had, I think, 170 kids come out. And then we did the court thing.
They did a mock trial.
A mock
if you
trial.
remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
which was pretty right on.
it was because
Point, wasn't it?
We had the actual characters. I mean, Judge Workman was on there.
A real judge.
A real judge. A real district attorney was on there. A public defender. I mean, the whole spiel.
And one of our favorite district justices played a role as the teenager's mom.
Absolutely.
If you remember.
Yes. Yeah, so.
The other thing, you mentioned DMC. That's an acronym that not many people may be aware of. It stands for Disproportionate Minority Contact.
Right.
And the whole program is sponsored by a government grant that deals with just that. We examine why people of certain ethnicities and races are more prone to get involved in the justice system.
And that contact we're talking about is police contact.
Yes, it is.
And that's why it's so important for the police officers to be involved in this whole project, where kids can actually sit down and have lunch with the police officer, see them in a friendlier terms other than, you know, somebody that's chasing them down.
It's a relaxed atmosphere for both sides. Having been a juvenile once and then later a police officer, I can see both sides of that coin.
Absolutely. Again, John, thanks a lot for coming on. You know, it's really a great pleasure to have you here. You know, I hope that you'll make time and come and visit us in the near future. Once again, John, thanks a lot for coming on the program.
Pleasure.
I appreciate having you here today. I hope you'll come back and visit us in the near future. I would also like to thank our viewers for watching, because without you, these programs would not be possible. So please stay tuned for more interesting topics in the weeks ahead on Making the Connection in Lancaster. Thank you and have a great day.